No, your team name does not represent your city as much as you think it does. You're still going to root for your team. And send. What is up, everybody? Yes, this is the same Richie O'Reilly who had the beard last week. No, it does not make me feel better to hear that I should have kept the beard. Thank you. This week, we're talking about some iconic NBA fashion, why you should be wearing a mask, and why the football team in Washington might be getting a new name soon. So let's start scrolling through our feed and see what we bookmarked from this week in sports. In case you missed it, today we're jumping right into it and talking about NBA fashion because everybody knows that the Hoopers have the best style. First, my man D'Lo clearly lives his H&M contract. This is the trendiest workout outfit I've ever seen. I mean, I guess you never know when the fashion show is gonna break out. My guy definitely belonged in LA or Brooklyn more so than Minnesota, but at least he's somewhere that wants him, even if that means he's gonna go 37 and 45 every year. Next, a truly iconic photo of All-Stars from 2005. I am so glad we progressed past this stage of fashion. My goodness. These guys were swimming in these clothes like Michael Phelps in an Olympic pool. LeBron looks like a kid trying to impress his friends on picture day. Vince Carter already looks old enough to be his dad. D-Wade just looks comfortable as hell, and T-Mac looks like he could have been a member of NSYNC. Iconic, but thankful we moved past this phase. Next, Shay and Nikhil are moods. I don't know if I've ever seen a better Instagram versus reality play out in real life. Shay is out here flexing on us, while Nikhil is just trying to stuff his face. These are just both way too relatable. And so is Tyler Hero's sweatshirt. This is a 2020 mood if I've ever seen one. It's good to see that even the stars are choosing comfort during the time inside. But not included in these photos is that it appears he was kicking it with rapper Jack Harlow, so I guess Tyler Hero really does know what's poppin'. And then there's my guy Kuzma doing, whoa, whatever this is. I love that he's just gonna do whatever the hell he wants, and that's why Kuz is the man. More of this. D-Wade has clearly been watching too much Avatar recently, but it's airbenders all the way, man. Don't bring that Fire Kingdom nonsense in here. And to end it, we got a shout out Lamella for this look, repping 44. Iconic Obama shirt here. This will always get style points. Next, another trend from these past few weeks was the high school versus now trend, and the basketball world jumped all over this. Let's start with the Atlanta Hawks' Kevin Huerter. Imagine someone telling you that this scrawny little kid was gonna be an NBA starter when he was in high school. What? Then we've got Kyrie. My man looks the same, but I especially love that he clearly mastered the what the hell is wrong with my teammates look in high school. Never changed, Kyrie. And this one was a good one from ESPN. CJ McCollum looks like he might have been 8 years old in high school. Are we sure this was the right photo? James Harden just needs a beard. LeBron was already an absolute beast in high school. No wonder he's the greatest high school baller ever. And then there's Kawhi. It's nice to know that they captured the last time he ever smiled. It looks good on him. He should probably break that out more often. He's a fun guy. And of course, we've got to end it with the legend, Vince Carter. Every comment under this photo was either, I'm surprised the high school photo wasn't in black and white, or they had cameras back then? So the joke's been beaten into the ground, but I want to give a shout out to the legend for a monumental career. To any young athletes looking for a role model, this guy's as good as it gets. Killer on the court, mentor and leader off of it. Hats off to UVC for record-setting 22 years. Thank you for changing the game. Next, the news that ruined every football fan's offseason. Cam Newton has signed for the New England Patriots, which means the 3 guarantees in life still hold true: death, taxes, and the Patriots being annoyingly in the mix. But see, now I'm torn, because nobody wants to watch a Boston sports teams win. We've all seen enough drunk idiots being misogynistic and homophobic in every Barstool video. We don't need any more Boston parades. But at the same time, I want Cam Newton to ball out and prove all the doubters wrong. The former first-team All-Pro and MVP gets so much disrespect, it's unbelievable. I mean, the fact that he just signed a 1-year, $550,000 guaranteed contract is actually the best example of that. Sure, he hasn't been at his best, and yes, he's coming back from injury, but those two things coincide, and that's the whole point. This guy's been playing hurt, and healthy Cam is a problem. Certainly more so than some of the names on this list of QBs getting paid more than him. Just take a second and read through this list. You cannot tell me a single name on here makes any sense. The only guy that's even defensible is Andy Dalton, and even I, the leader of the Andy Dalton is underrated club, can't justify this. Now, one guy Cam cannot say he deserves more money than is Pat Mahomes, because holy crap, this dude just got himself some baseball money. The 24-year-old Super Bowl MVP just earned himself a 10-year, $500+ million contract. And honestly, he deserves every penny of it. This guy threw for 50 touchdowns in 2018. That is 5-0. And then he backed it up the next year with a Super Bowl. But back to Cam Newton, while many found the move to be a complete surprise, some of us, including the new ESPN NFL analyst Mina Kimes, which, good for you, Mina, were not so surprised by this. While I'm still seeing that the Pats are very high on Jason Stidham, this is the most Patriot move ever. Sign a guy who used to be incredible and revitalize his career. There is no downside to this. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to see 2015 MVP Cam again, because we're not. He's past those days, most likely. But even if we get 80% of that, he's still got a much higher upside than so many of the other guys on other teams. And if it doesn't work out, oh well, you paid him $500,000. This is such a Patriot move. Now what I can tell you is that he's going to be more motivated than Pablo Sandoval is about eating hot dogs in the offseason. It's pretty clear the Panda didn't have a home gym during quarantine. But even if that doesn't work out, it's good to know he's press conference ready and can always fill in for the mascot. Cam, I respect the hustle. Keep up the style. Okay, it's time to play some games. It's retweet or delete. Today, we're starting off by deleting the world's #1 tennis player, Novak Djokovic. The Joker and his wife contracted the coronavirus after being quite possibly the dumbest people in the world. They hosted a tennis tour despite literally everybody advising against it. And then, shockingly, a number of people and players who had attended, including these two, contracted the virus. Apparently, these people skipped science class growing up and now spend all day reading subreddits about how the moon landing was fake because not only did he host the tournament, then he threw some weird shirtless after party. He is an anti-vaxxer and he believes the coronavirus is somehow connected to 5G. It's so dumb. Things only managed to get worse for people nicknamed the Joker after Nikola Jokic of the Nuggets tested positive for the virus just days after this photo was taken. Not great. Now the Jokic weight loss photo makes a little more sense. Djokovic came out with an apology, and I know he has to say sorry, and he should, but man, you went around talking about this as a conspiracy, and you endangered a ton of people. I'm not one to permanently cancel people, I think we can go too far with that, but until he proves he's not one of the dumbest people on the planet, I think he's gonna lose a lot of fans and support. Federer and Nadal over Djokovic any day of the week. Next, I cannot believe I have to say this again, but I am retweeting athletes wearing masks. Thanks to a significant portion of this country being more selfish than Scottie Pippen when he refused to leave the bench for Tony Kukoc's game-winning shot, we are now back to having to fill our social feeds with pleas for rationality, and sports teams and athletes have been leading these conversations. The Mets are reminding everyone that Dom Smith is able to play first base with a mask on. I'll never forget when this guy rolled up to one of my high school summer ball games right after he got drafted, fully decked out in all Mets gear, in a brand new car. And it was at that moment that I knew he was going to be the perfect 240 hitter to lead the Mets to mediocrity. Then we've got the Dodgers MVPs rolling through wearing their masks. But let's get these guys something more on brand Dodgers. It looks like they have batting practice at 2 and then they have to go remove someone's molars at 4. What are we doing here? Mike Trout's mom knows how big this situation is. If one of the greatest players of all time can wear a mask while running the bases in the heat, you can too. The NBA has also been very active with its vocalization of wearing masks. Teams like the Lakers have created promotional videos encouraging people to do their research, which clearly a lot of people are not. And they've leveraged LeBron as an asset to create an us versus them mentality. If you want to be considered a Lakers fan, then wear a mask. We've also got this nice thread put together by Jeff Eisenband to show guys like Bradley Beal, Giannis, Enes Kanter, all doing the right thing. It's not that tough to put a mask on. But the best example of proper mask wearing to come out of the past few weeks definitely has to go to this photo of the newly turned 20-year-old Zion Williamson looking like he's ready to take over Gotham. It looks like the rookie heard enough comparisons to Booger McFarlane. My man was having none of that. He laid off the gumbo and turned straight to the protein powder, or maybe he teamed up with Steven Adams for a more natural workout plan. And that's 2 Steven Adams references in 2 shows. Guys are hitting Bookmarked. Now, if Zion keeps lifting like this, Kyle Lowry trying to draw a charge might end up in a murder. Look, if this dude can wear a mask while sculpting his body into a Michelangelo work of art, then your lazy ass can put one on the trudge to the ice cream shop. I'm retweeting wearing masks. Come on now. Okay, it's time to scroll through the Explore page and check out the stories made for you. Today we're going to be talking about the Washington football team and the pressure it's receiving to change its name from the Redskins to something less culturally abrasive. The driving argument behind the call for a name change is the fact that the term Redskins is inherently racially charged, and we'll get into why. But I'm going to start by addressing the reasons people don't want to change the name first. Other than the people who like to just say, this is my team and it's always been this way, so it's going to be this way. Ignoring them for a second. The counterpoint that people love to argue is that most Native Americans don't actually care about the team name. Studies like this one argue that most of them aren't actually bothered by the name, and some high schools in Native American territories do use the nickname Redskins as their mascot. But a couple things here. Some Native Americans don't mind the term, and if they'd like to keep it as their mascot in their reservations, by all means, they can. But it's an entirely different story when it's a white owner with a history of suspect behavior when it comes to race, choosing to keep the term as the team's name because he wants to. If you don't know why the term is offensive, I'll give you a quick rundown. I'm including this article in the bio for anybody to read because it actually does give a pretty good description of why this impacts people, but apparently the term redskin describes the scalped head of a Native American sold like a pelt for cash. yeah, that's not cool. Look, when it comes to these things, there's always going to be people who defend it. It's impossible to get everyone to agree on anything. So yes, some Native Americans may say that they have bigger concerns than the name of an NFL football team, and that's true, they do. But that's why this should at the very least be a starting point for some of those changes. And also, if most Native Americans don't care, but some do, those who do still matter. But here's part of the issue. People clearly haven't been educated properly on the background of the name, so they don't see a problem with it. But then there's also some stupidity involved. I mean, how the hell does the term Redskins represent the city of DC? Of all the things you could have picked, this was the one that fits? No, it's just you have a tie to the name because that's what you grew up knowing. If it was something else when you were younger, you would have followed that team too. And then you've got a bunch of people like this with the really classy, intelligent remarks. I don't like it. I don't care if it offends you, but I bet if you asked this guy to wear a mask, he'd crumble to pieces. As is the nature of anything in this business, nothing was going to change until it affected the pockets of the people in charge, and it looks like that's what might finally be happening. Investors and shareholders worth a combined $620 billion are calling on companies like Nike, FedEx, and PepsiCo to sever ties with the team unless they agree to change the name. Not long after that report came out, FedEx made waves when it asked the team to change its name. And the reason that is particularly important is because FedEx is the naming sponsor of the stadium. That's a big deal. And then Nike followed suit by removing all Redskins gear from its site. A bit passive aggressive, but it did the trick. The good news is the team has already announced that they'll be conducting a thorough review of the name, whatever that means. And there's actually a possibility that a decision could be made by September. The Cleveland Indians have also announced they will be reviewing their name, and team manager and Michael Jordan's Last Dance hype man Terry Francona said he's all for it. Hopefully by the time we release this video, there will have been some changes made. At least right now we're headed in the right direction, or maybe not. Despite the infinite number of way worse things that are going on right now in the world, Donald Trump decided to weigh in on this. Now, the only reason I'm giving this the time of day at all is because I want to shout out the incredible Twitter detectives who did some pretty surface level digging to find, what's this? A tweet from 2013 telling Obama to focus on his job. Can anyone feel the hypocrisy, or is that just... No, everyone? Oh, okay, good. But thinking about some solutions here, my favorite alternative name so far is the Washington Red Tails. Let's just make this happen. But at the very least, if we can't make that happen, we gotta get Ron Rivera's dog Tahoe to be the team mascot. That's a good boy right there. Okay, today we're playing it forward by looking at perhaps the most dedicated example of athlete activism in recent times. WNBA star Maya Moore dedicated her life to the cause of social justice last year by opting out of the season to focus her attention on overturning the wrongful conviction of Jonathan Irons, who was serving a 50-year prison sentence for a crime that he did not commit when he was 18. Moore met Irons when she was doing prison ministry back in 2007, and the two stayed in touch since then. But last week, both of their hard work finally paid off when Irons was released from prison with Moore there to greet him with a big hug. This is what it's all about. Now, I just want to quickly talk about Maya Moore as a basketball player to put into context what a tremendous deal it was for her to take off a year of her basketball career in her prime. Maya Moore is one of only 5 players in WNBA history to win Rookie of the Year, MVP, and Finals MVP. She is a 4-time WNBA champ, a 2-time NCAA national champ, and a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. This woman is a stud on and off the court, and people and athletes across the industry commended her for her work. This message right here gives a good indication as to the magnitude of what Maya Moore has accomplished. Dedicating your life to a cause while sacrificing a year of your own professional career deserves recognition along with some of the all-time great activists. This is unprecedented. NBA journeyman Jay Crowder came through to highlight how inspirational this act of kindness was, and Jameel Hill wants to emphasize how insane it is for someone in their prime to make a life-altering decision like this. Donovan Mitchell wanted to shout her out and show his respect, much like the rest of the sports world. We're all just pretty amazed that she did this. Maya Moore had her priorities right, and this is what it came to. I'm ending this today by giving a huge shout out to both Marcus Rashford and Maya Moore, the last 2 topics that play it forward, for their sensational work off the field and court. I cannot even begin to describe how immensely important their work is. This is yet another reason why we should never, ever tell athletes to shut up and dribble. Maya Moore, hats off to you. Congratulations on your massive accomplishment. Thank you for playing it forward. Appreciate you all for tuning in for another episode. As always, I'd love to have you guys on and talk sports and share opinions. So let's keep staying safe and stay bookmarking.